President Biden is meeting with NATO leaders on and off these Zoom calls and calls, discussing the path forward on Ukraine. Lawmakers such as Senator Ted Cruz are stressing the priorities we need to keep in mind.
The specific reason we saw Ukraine invaded is because the Biden White House surrendered on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Nord Stream 2 is the pipeline that Putin was building to get his energy straight to Europe without having to go through Ukraine. And the reason he wants the pipeline is so that he doesn't need Ukrainian pipelines to get his gas to market.
A large gathering of conservatives is where we find Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State and Fox News contributor, CPAC, down in Orlando, Florida. Former Secretary, I want to get right to the point of why we are exactly where we are, waiting 30 days for these new sanctions. Half measures, some calling it not even that. Senator Cotton says not even that much from this president. What is he waiting to see?
Harris, I think it's unexplainable. It's been a day late and $1 billion rubles short the whole way. We've been on our back foot. We've allowed him to dictate the pace, the speed. We've responded with weakness, whether it's a half measure, quarter measure, we can all argue, but make no mistake about it, Vladimir Putin is not going to change his behavior. You can see what's happening, the tragedy on the streets of Kyiv, in the Kharkiv as well, and in the south. We can see these tragedies unfolding, and we watch a president say, well, when he does something really bad, we'll unleash the really bad sanctions. That's a big mistake. We should fire up American energy, we should provide it, and we should give resources and capabilities so that the Ukrainians can continue this fight as long as it takes.
One of the videos that we've seen burst in this is from the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, on one of the calls that he did. He said, look, you're not doing enough. He called out Biden and NATO. I do want to ask one quick question before we move on. War crimes. We're reading about hospitals being hit. I saw one with a NICU unit, and they were trying to keep the babies calm and alive without a lot of energy, without a lot of utilities. Things are happening. When you invade a sovereign nation, isn't that a war crime? Where does that put Putin?
I don't think there's any doubt that Vladimir Putin will have blood on his hands sufficient that we will find that he committed true war crimes in the tradition that we have seen, right, where the most horrible sets of acts against innocent victims, knowing you weren't conducting a strike against a military target far outside the rule of law. I think when the facts unfold here, we'll see that that was not only what happened, Harris, but that was part of the Russian strategic objective. It's how they intended to conduct this fight.
That is heartbreaking. And necessary for us to go after him. The Wall Street Journal editorial board outlining what it calls Putin's new world. Quote, Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine early Thursday marks the failure of Western deterrence and a return to the age of authoritarian conquest. Now we'll see if Europe and the U.S. awaken from their illusions of eternal post-Cold War peace and security to address the new world order. Your response?
We can get it back, Harris. America is a powerful, great nation. We know how to do it. We did it for 4 years in the Trump administration. When we put America first, our friends knew they wanted to be our friends, and our adversaries knew that they dare not tread on the United States. We didn't send 50,000 soldiers every place to fight, but we made clear that there were things that mattered to us here at home, things that mattered to the American people. When you do that, Harris, the bad guys, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Chairman Kim, they all take note, and they behave in ways that are different from what we're seeing unfold today in Europe.
Some experts on U.S.-Russian relations are telling Fox Digital that Putin may have overplayed his hand by invading Ukraine, with one calling it a massive miscalculation. He is seeing, his forces are seeing some pushback. It is day 2, though, and already calls for they need help, they need weapons. Secretary, how do you see it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt the Ukrainian people are amazing. What they did in the Maidan to gain their freedom last time from Russia and a Russian oligarch was powerful and important. I think they'll fight again, but they're going to need lots of assistance. We should provide that. That's moral assistance, it's weapons, it's all the things that the United States and NATO can deliver. It's important, Harris, that we do that. We need to make sure that the point that was made earlier, that this might end up being very costly for Vladimir Putin, turns out to be true. We need to make sure there are real costs imposed on him, not only today and tomorrow, but for as long as he occupies a country that he has no right to be in.
Are we at a point where we're looking at a new world order?
Harris, I'm very concerned about a set of cascading risks. There's no doubt that Xi Jinping is watching this, Chairman Kim. Today, Harris, even as we sit here, we're sitting on the same side of the negotiating table with the Russians in Vienna negotiating a new nuclear deal. I mean, that's just nutty to think that you're going to have the Russians as your partner in a deal with Iran to protect the United States and Israel from a nuclear weapon in Iran. These cascading crises often have marked history, and if the United States is weak, if we continue to be on our back foot, there is a real risk we'll continue to see this.
That is really important, what you just said in terms of how much leverage Putin has and knows that he has. I'm trying to verify today, Secretary Pompeo, if we're still buying those 595,000 barrels of crude from Russia, our third largest supplier. I've got calls out now to the Department of Energy. I want to know, well, when are those checks going to stop being written? I mean, he has us literally over a barrel in certain sectors. As you just pointed out, we're on the same side of a negotiating table.
Harris, we have so many tools, so many levers of power that we could unleash. American energy, I heard Senator Cruz talk about Nord Stream 2. I think that's absolutely right. We should stop that. But then we should replace that natural gas and every ounce of crude oil that Russia is providing to the world from places like North Dakota and Texas and Pennsylvania and Ohio, creating jobs and wealth here at home, lowering the price of crude oil by, my goodness, when we left office it was half of this. When you do that, you create wealth and prosperity for the West, and you deny the money that Vladimir Putin is using to fuel the very invasion that we're watching unfold on TV today.
I know in just the last few seconds, and Will Cain and others on this hour and I have talked about it, we don't want to press too far into politics, but there will come a time, about 250 days from now, on November 8th, for people to make a decision in this country. Real quickly, your thoughts, and then I've got to let you go.
I'm here at CPAC to give energy and encouragement to the very people that I hope go out and campaign vigorously in November of this year to make sure that the conservative value set that I've worked on all my life is victorious in the campaign. It's important to get America headed back the right direction, Harris, just as quickly as we can.
Secretary Mike Pompeo in focus this hour from CPAC in sunny Orlando, Florida.
Thank you, Harris.
Thank you for your time and expertise.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.